For the second time on Mirror Talk, it's a pleasure and a privilege to be speaking with the Amazon best-selling author of a cookbook entitled Brownies for Breakfast. Welcome back to the show, Grandma. How are you doing?
I am so happy to be with you, Toby. This is big fun. We're old pals by now on internet standards, right? We've
Yeah.
known each other, and we are of like minds in many ways. And I love this. Let's do this.
Yes, let's do this. I mean, last time we spoke, we talked a little about food. Looked into diabetes and, what kind of food to eat, to live young and to be energetic and fit like you in your age, basically. And we learned a lot from that episode. So in this episode, I'm looking forward to even going deeper into that. And like you said, we've known each other for a while on the internet, even though we're
Yeah.
living in different parts of the world, basically. But yeah, it
Yeah.
has been a long time and I'm super excited to be learning so much from you again in this episode. I would just love us to talk about, more about food. Basically, I would love us to update ourselves on the latest nutrition research out there. Like, is there something in the research right now that everyone should know about?
Research, huge. But where I kind of wanted to go with you a little bit today was,
Mm,
Toby, the fact that food is love language,
mm,
that food isn't just food. And so many folks today, young folks, let's say, perhaps like yourself,
mm.
um, don't maybe know that one of the best ways to show each other how we feel is through food.
Wow.
It's a very emotional, deep connection with people. It's maybe the deepest connection when you think about it. Out and you and I were talking a little while ago about critters in the wild and the lions and feeding each other
Mm,
is how we care for each other, how we love each other.
yeah.
And so that goes in all different directions, I know, but it's how we keep each other strong and how we keep each other alive, not just ourselves.
Mm,
And I think that too many of us are eating alone now. It's not news that there's this loneliness epidemic. And there we go with the research. There is huge research now coming out. There are all kinds of papers coming out about how lonely we are. What a lonely time this is. Thing happening over the last 3 years. It's been a lonely time for a lot of us. But I was just reading some new research this morning about teenage girls, teenage boys, and who is more unhappy, teenage boys or teenage girls, which
mm,
in a way
mm.
we go, as parents, we go, well, I don't want any of the kids to be unhappy, right?
Yeah,
Boys or girls
yeah.
on the internet, on the social media that's available to kids, on kids spending their time with their noses in their phones.
Mm,
And to me, one of the remedies for that, one of the things I'd like for us all to be thinking about more seriously is feeding each other, feeding ourselves really well, and feeding each other in a loving
yeah,
way.
yeah. I'd love us to go deeper into that. Food plus love language. Like, are we talking about physical food? Are we talking about, the maybe the Asian dishes or the American dishes, the burger? Are we talking about the salad as love languages? And are we talking about it as, us feeding ourselves or giving ourselves the best meal ever, the most healthy food ever as a love language to ourselves, or giving our partners or friends the meal that they love to eat as a love language?
That. And so many of us now are taking photographs of our food, right? And putting it on Instagram, which is sweet and hilarious in its way. But the underneath that is the truth that when we prepare a meal for ourselves or for someone else and we make it beautiful and we set the table and we put a candle on the table and we put some flowers on the table or a flower or something that we think is pretty, and we use a beautiful dish of some kind, all of that is a love language to ourselves. Like, I'm worth it. I'm not going to eat on the floor with the critters. I'm going to sit at this table and I'm going to have a little bit of a ritual with my food. All of that is not only, it feels good, but that improves your health, Toby. That actually, because food doesn't just nourish us at a sort of physiological microbiome level, which it does, and I'm all about that, but it feeds us emotionally. Food
Mm,
is a huge emotional influence. And in fact, we can go from there to why do people, even people who know better, people who, doctors, people who have all the information in front of them, why do they still eat crap? Why do
mm,
they still eat so badly? Why do they still go to the cupboard at 11 o'clock at night and pull out the chips or pull out the leftover, pizza and eat it in front of the TV?
mm,
What is it? What's that emotional eating that you hear referred to in the science and by the docs? Um, it's it's being underfed somehow and trying to make up for it.
mm,
And the way you're underfed may have nothing to do with food. It may mean you're underfed with friendship or underfed with company or underfed with acceptance or, I mean, we can go all different directions on that. But I just, I want people to think about the fact that food is not, it's not just fuel. It's
mm.
not just grub.
Yeah.
It's not just just plants and animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very emotional, very spiritual thing. And we can look back, any history buffs and among your listeners, everyone pretty much is aware that as long as we've been studying human history, people have been using food as part of their ritual, as part of their honoring their ancestors, as part of honoring the creatures of the woods. Food has been part of our religious practice, no matter what that practice is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not eating food. That is a way to honor feeding each other. It's
Mm.
fasting, which that's a whole other thing we can talk about.
Yeah.
Um, but food is at the heart of who we are as humans, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But Grandma, how do we then find our way back from right now eating alone, living a lonely life, like the research says, to going back to, having food with, friends, with community, having it in this, in a wonderful setting and, enjoying meals basically with people and not in front of the TV watching Netflix alone and eating maybe some meal or something like that.
So your question is, how do we fix it? Is that what your
Yes.
question?
Yes, that's
Okay,
it.
I've got a couple of ideas. One, what you and I are doing right now.
Mm,
Uh, it's so fun that we can now connect with friends, our faces, Zoom or Riverside or whatever it is. We can we can connect online. Why not have a virtual meal with somebody? Why not set the table? Talk about what you're eating. Why not have a theme for it and suggest to your friend, okay, we're going to meet next Wednesday night, this time, and we're going to talk about fermented foods because I'm going to explore fermented foods and I want you to explore fermented foods and then we'll get back to it.
mm.
So that's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yes,
Instead of
yes.
eating alone, it
Mm,
takes a little effort. Another thing, and I suggested in my book strongly, knock on somebody's door if you're in a go down the hallway and say, Mr. Johnson, hi. I'm eating alone here. Would you like some of my casserole? Come on
mm,
over.
mm,
We've kind of gotten away from that idea that they don't have to be close friends. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's the cop that, someone, um, take a little basket of brownies to somebody and
mm.
baked with my recipe, of course, with no sugar.
Yes. Yeah, of
But
course.
take a treat to somebody that you like.
Mm,
Uh, and one of the things that I write about in my book is how simple cooking can be and should be. Everybody's watching TV now, or watching YouTubes of people making elaborate meals and cakes that are 4 miles high, and they're having competitions with food like it's some kind of athletic performance. No, it's food is simple, and if you want to get all crazy about it, okay. But I don't want people thinking that basic cooking is hard. It's not. It's easy. Um, and it's satisfying and it's fun. And if you share it with, an 8-year-old that you like, or even maybe an 8-year-old you're not sure you like, but a way to get to know them and like them is cook
Yeah.
with them. You
Yes.
know, maybe it's your grumpy Uncle Fred,
Mm,
85 years old. You can cook with him too. And
mm,
all of a sudden, cooking together kind of breaks barriers somehow.
mm, mm-hmm.
Uh, it's it's very human, Toby. Very,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm even getting a little bit emotional right now, like having that dream or the picture in my head of going back to those days where you could, have your friends around the table or your family members from far and near around the table, and you could just cut off all cultural differences, all belief differences, all mindset differences, and just sit down together, have a meal together, or even before that, cook together and then, set the table up and eat together, and not fight over the internet or fight over the meal or so. I just have a wonderful time together. That's something I wish everyone could enjoy and experience and have from time to time, and not just once a year or during festive periods only. Yeah, yeah,
And it's very hard to be angry with someone who's just made you a wonderful meal.
mm, mm, yeah,
Um, and again, when it comes to love relationships, if there is a lady, particularly, or another human being in your life who you are trying to woo, do it with food. It works. It works real
mm,
well.
mm,
Um, Yeah, that says a lot to someone. I am willing to go through a process of thinking about something, selecting something, preparing something, making it wonderful, and giving it to you. And
mm,
it can be a salad, it can be, a little roast chicken. It can be really simple, but trust me, it works
yeah.
really, really well.
I believe that, of course, it does. There's something you mentioned earlier, which I would love us to really talk about, and that's fasting. I would love to know about
Mm.
fasting and what's your opinion on fasting, and what's the best way to fast, and how does it even affect our health?
Well, here again, there's tons of research coming out in the last 10, 15 years. A
Mm,
lot has come out, and it's again, it's pretty simple. I mean, there's all kinds of take my class about fasting and read this book about fasting. It's not that hard.
mm.
And it's based, Toby, on the fact that you're did we talk about autophagy on the last show? I can't remember if we did or
I,
not.
I don't think
It
so.
it worth mentioning again, and it's one of my favorite words, autophagy. And it literally means self-eating. Kind of
Mm,
grody, but stay with me. It's the process that happens in your body after you stopped eating for at least 16 hours, 18 hours. There's still some argument about how long it has to be. But what happens is you've cleared your system out of the food that is needing to be digested. And
mm,
now the cleanup crew goes to work. Your cells have this amazing, incredible ability to clean themselves up and recycle themselves. And they literally eat all the bad stuff and then send it on out of your body. They make new cells out of it and send the rest away. So you're thinking, okay, and I liken it to our freeway system, cars, right?
mm,
This crew can't come out and clean the road until all the traffic is gone. And once the traffic is gone, then the brooms and the shovels and the trucks can come out and
mm,
clear all the crud away and fix the highway. Your
mm.
body works the same way. So you're thinking 16 hours, 18. Well,
Yeah.
it's just do the math. And it means eating a bit earlier, usually in the evening, and stopping your food at I eat early in the day. So I don't eat anything after 3 or 4 in the afternoon,
Mm,
and sometimes 2 in the afternoon. I eat a good breakfast, lunch, kind of a late lunch, sometimes a couple of meals, not typically 3 meals, usually 2. A lot of people have gone to eating one meal, the sort of fasting bros that you see on Instagram and on on YouTube,
mm,
I only need one meal. Okay, fine. That's perfectly okay. But you don't have to torture yourself or go hungry. Just learn to stop eating earlier and perhaps start eating a little later in the day so that you're eating in a 6 to 8 hour window. And I've seen charts that say if you're this old, eat in this kind of a window, and if you're this old, eat in that kind of. No, do what works for you, because we've all got school schedules and work schedules and kids schedules and everything.
mm,
So this can be a little tricky. Who can kind of make my own schedule. It's really easy. And plus, again, for grandma here, I cooked for people my whole life. I've always been cook. It's kind of nice to just skip a meal. Just
yeah.
don't do it.
Mm,
It's fine,
mm,
perfectly okay. But I would encourage you to stop eating as early as you possibly can in the evening. What happens is you sleep better. You
mm,
really have much better sleep. And you hear so many people complaining now about, and especially I hear it from older folks, can't sleep, it's just I can't stop eating. Because it's all connected, Toby, and you need to be eating some fermented foods, that for your microbiome, but you also need to not be eating pizza at 11 o'clock at night. Just don't
mm.
stop.
Mm,
Don't do it
of
anymore.
course. Yeah,
You hear me?
yes. Yeah. Thank you, Grandma, for that. I mean, it's something that we have to do in order to live a much healthier life. Of course, it takes some discipline, I believe, because sometimes 11 p.m. at night, you are very hungry, and you just say, "Oh, I feel like eating some pizza with a
Okay,
lot of
you
cheese on
say
it."
discipline, and I say thought.
Mm,
Just give it thought. Give it some care.
mm,
Give yourself as much care as you give your beloved pet, who you feed well and think about their health. At the
mm,
same time, you're eating all that junky stuff and drinking soda pop and,
mm,
drinking coffee all day with sugar and milk in it.
mm.
No. Um, treat yourself with some dignity. Because when we say discipline, we think, doing without or going. No, I'm talking about doing with better health, doing with feeling better, doing with enjoying your meals more. Because I don't think you really enjoy that food that you're kind of tossing down at 11 o'clock at night. You're grabbing a bag of some chips or something. I
Yeah.
don't think you enjoy that
Mm,
as much as you enjoy food you've thought about and prepared in some small way. It doesn't have to be fancy.
mm, mm,
But
mm.
if it comes in a bag or a box, you've heard me say this before. Here's grandma again. If it comes in a bag or a box, you probably shouldn't be eating it.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I mean, all of this, takes me back to where you started actually, like talking about food as being our love language. That means, if you consider food as our love language, we have to put in the thoughts into it. Like, okay, I love myself so much, I have to
Yeah,
put in the best kind of food into my body system because, yeah, I love myself.
yeah,
Mm,
absolutely.
mm,
And I know that sounds a little peculiar for some folks out there listening to it. I love myself. I love myself. But at least respect yourself. you know, um, take care of it. It's all you got.
mm,
And coming from this side of life, and I'm going to mention again, I'm 77, and I say that because I'm proud of it. I
mm.
lived, Toby. I made it this far. And
Yeah,
I plan to make it for another 25 years because I'm having fun and
yeah.
I want to keep it. And in fact, here's more research for you. Guess who the happiest people are? Who's
Ooh,
happy? Who?
the eldest
Can you
people,
guess?
the people with
Huh?
early food. Ah, okay.
Older people, right?
Other people. Ah, okay.
60, 70, 80 years old. You've done most of the hard stuff that you have to do.
Mm, mm,
The only thing that keeps you from being happy is bad health. So that's where we're going with all this.
yeah.
Good health when you're older starts when you're young.
Mm,
That bag of crappy chips that you're eating you're going to pay for when you're in your 70s and 80s, like you don't even understand right now.
Mm.
Um, and the difference with me, again, we talked about this a little bit. I learned in my 40s that I was diabetic. I was type 2 diabetic. So, and I didn't want to die. I had kids and I wanted to live and I didn't want to be disabled.
Mm.
And and I had seen my mother had died young and I had seen what a mom dying young does to a family.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. The family is broken apart, typically, in many
Mm.
ways.
Mm.
Um, so I started early
Mhm.
and I've been working at this a long time now. Well, I
Yeah.
say working, but operating this way, let's say,
Mm.
thinking about food, thinking about what I'm eating, thinking about exercising. And by the way, I just started a new exercise routine with a new gym in my little town that a fella started up. And because my former little gym that I went to that I loved she had to go do other things.
Mm.
So, and I want to put a little plug in here for how wonderful it is to have a community of people near you who are exercising with you. Even if that's just walking, a little walking group where you text somebody and you say, I'm walking at 9, meet me at the corner, whatever. It's such a great social thing to do. I mean,
Mm.
it's super exercise, but the part that I missed the most about my little group was that social part where I saw these ladies 2 or 3 times a week, and it was, not we just kind of connected and, "Well, how you doing? Well, how's that kid yours? Well, how's your dog?"
Mm.
That's the part of society that keeps us really glued together. It's not the big, deep, discussions. Those are nice too. But we just need to bump into each other, Toby. We need to not be alone in our rooms. We need to be out on the street, out in the shops, out in the coffee place with a couple of pals.
Mm.
That's what keeps us going and happy. And we have lived in a society where we've all been working like crazy, these long days, 12, 18-hour crazy days. And um, we've sort of, and then COVID, and then people started working remotely,
Mm.
and two things happened. They were home alone in their rooms, but they weren't in the office.
Mm.
And I just saw a thing this morning that was talking about how work has become a religious thing for
Mm.
Americans. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's quite the thing for Europeans, but Americans worship work. Everything is about work. How hard do you work? How much do you make? Who do you work for? What do you do for work? When you see someone socially, what's the first, what do you do? What's your work?
Mm.
And
Mm.
I read that and thought, golly, yeah, we are work obsessed in this
Mm.
country. And
Yeah.
that is not where happiness lies, I don't think. I mean, I've been lucky. I love my work. I've worked my buns off, like a lot of Americans.
Mhm.
But I also have been a parent. And so to me, and I've laughed with my daughters now who both have children, back in the day, going to work was the most relaxing part of my day. Showing up at work, that was a piece of cake.
Mm.
You got to sit in a nice chair in a clean, organized place. There was an agenda. You knew what to do. You want to see work? Go home with me. Single mother of 3 kids, right?
Mm.
Who
Mm.
need to have their so work for me was sort of a hobby. I was fortunate to have good work that paid
Yeah.
decently so that I could raise my kids.
Mhm.
But um, work is an interesting thing to define too, right? What are we calling work
Mm.
exactly? Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a topic on its own. Like, what do we call work
it is.
actually? Yeah, yeah. But when we bring it back to food, in this, like you said, like it's totally correct and true. Like we live in a day and age where we are obsessed with work, obsessed with achievements. We're always on our toes, trying to hit the next milestone, and all of this, sets us apart a little bit in sense of we are locked up in our rooms or locked up in our offices, and we isolate ourselves basically. But you know, I just want to know, like, I'm just curious to know, like, I know I've read about this or heard about this in the past, but from you as an expert, I'd love to know if there are like some food or some meals that we could eat to boost our happiness or our mood in general. In this kind of time of day and age where we feel so saddened and depressed sometimes because of the environment that we're in. Are there like some food that could elevate our mood?
Well, brownies. Hello?
Yeah.
Brownies, as long as they're made the way I make 'em.
Mm.
Because, and I want you to quit eating sugar, and I'm
Y-
all the time talking about quit eating sugar because
Yes.
sugar depresses your mood. Sugar makes you feel down. And so maybe that's a place to start is
Mm.
you're gonna elevate your mood if you stop eating the stuff that is depressing your mood. And there is a huge amount of science out there about what sugar does to depress your mood. And
Mm.
if you're a sugar eater, excuse me, you probably know that you have a crash after, and it's an addiction. And like any addiction, you need to feed it continually. It's addiction. It's like, I need a snack, I need some sugar. When you quit eating sugar, not eating becomes doable and pleasant. Uh, if you see where I'm going with this,
Mm.
once you free yourself from eating the American diet of continual sugar day and night, and when I say sugar, I also mean processed white flour. In your body, it behaves just like sugar. White rice in your body, just like sugar. Um, so yes, stop eating anything with sugar added to it, but also, as we were just saying, any boxed processed food, bagged food, if you read the label, it probably has sugar in it. So that's number one for mood elevation. Then when
Mm.
it comes to what do we, if you feel like sweets, I believe, and not all the physicians are with me on this, but they'll find out eventually that old lady was right. I think you should eat sweet tasting things when you want to. Just don't make them out of sugar. Make them out of one of my favorites, allulose. Great sweetener. It does not have any kind of a reaction to your blood glucose. It doesn't do anything bad in your body. It's a natural product, allulose. And you use it just like sugar. So then when you eat my brownies, what you've had is nut butter, fabulous food, really good food, because it's got great fats in it, it's got fiber in it, it's got protein in it, minerals, good stuff. And it can be cashew butter, it can be walnut butter. I don't actually, is anybody doing walnut butter? I don't know. It can be almond butter, allulose, nut butter, pumpkin. I put a whole can pureed pumpkin right out of the cupboard into the bowl. Pumpkin, great food. Vitamins, minerals, fiber, all good stuff. And sweet. And then you put a little vanilla and a little cinnamon, sweet and sweet cinnamon, great food. And there's science to cinnamon being helpful to blood glucose for diabetics. What am I forgetting? Oh, eggs, brilliant food. If you source your eggs well from happy chickens who are eating good stuff,
Yeah.
eggs, high protein, balanced with good fat, all great. If you're vegan, that's okay. Use an egg substitute, which is usually made out of flaxseed. Brilliant, good food. So you see how simple it is. You
Mm.
throw it in a bowl, bake it, and you
Mm.
got a brownie. And
Mm.
it's a meal, Toby. It's a whole meal. And so as you are getting ready to go to work or out the door or whatever, or just sitting down to your table, you can pull one of those puppies out, cut it as big as you want, and eat the whole thing and say to yourself, that was smart and that tasted really good. And that's going to make you happy, isn't it?
Yes, it's weird. It's weird.
No guilt, no depression, no problems. Only thing that will make you happier is if you say, Mr. Johnson, would you like one of my brownies?
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Johnson's going to go, oh my gosh, yeah. And
Mm.
he's going to say, that's the best brownie I ever ate. And you're going to go,
Mm.
thanks.
Yeah.
That will make you happy too. And Mr. Johnson, you made two people happy that way.
Yes, and Mrs. Johnson will ask, where did you get the recipe from? Then we'll say, we got it from Brownies for Breakfast, which is available on Amazon. Get the link in the show notes of this episode if you want to get the book.
You happen
Yeah,
to have one, right?
exactly. Yes. It's so I mean I recommend it for everyone who loves to bake or wants to make healthy, happy food or happy meal out there. Visit Grandma's website and then you can get the link to the book on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. It's indie books, I think bookshop.org also and other platforms where the book is available for sales. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I really love that and appreciate that. Yeah, but there's something
Well,
that's on my mind right now, and that's
okay.
I'd love to know, nowadays we have this issue or challenge with our self-image, with our self-confidence, and we have food, and you talk about food as a love language. So is there like a relationship between our self-image and what we eat?
I think it goes back to this idea of respecting yourself. I've
Mm,
had conversations with so many people, Toby, where when you eat the stuff that you know is not good for you, that you don't seem to be able to help yourself, and you want that donut, and then you want another donut, that's a way of punishing yourself in a
mm,
way, because you know you're going to feel guilty. You know you're going to feel bad, physically bad, but you are appearing weak to yourself by doing this.
mm,
And um, I think that's where that self-image comes in. I'm not all about losing weight, but I will tell you that if you are diabetic, if you have fatty liver, if you have kidney disease, a lot, and heart disease especially, you will have probably been told that you need to lose weight.
mm.
And you don't want to hear that because it's hard. You would have done it already if it were easy.
Yeah.
And most physicians don't know how to advise you to lose weight. And dieting, is notoriously, it doesn't work particularly. You can't keep it up,
Mm,
so on. And it's made even worse by, okay, what I'm eating is making me unhealthy or, putting weight on me, and I don't seem strong enough or smart enough or whatever to fix it.
mm.
And so then you have this spiraling self-image situation.
Yeah.
And what I would propose is if you just stop eating crap and you stop eating sugar and you eat more good whole food, real food.
Mm,
So my diet, my snarky grandma diet, is eat real food, which you think, okay, wait, is that? At first, it's a little hard because you realize how much of what you've been eating
mm,
is not real.
mm,
So that's going to be a bump on your self image too. You're going to go,
mm.
but you can fix it. And I want you to fix it
Yeah.
because you will never feel great about who you are, how you look, how you feel. Are you strong? Are you smart? You have to eat well to
Mm,
feel those things. You
mm.
have to.
Yeah. So it's a circle basically. I have to eat well to feel good, and once I feel good, I eat well, and it's rolls in that circle. Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's so wonderful. I mean, is there like an habit or one new habit that anyone could cultivate right now to make a big difference in his or her health?
Ask me another way. Say that
Yeah,
another way.
yes. I would love to. I would love to ask. For someone who wants to like start eating healthy right now, so someone wants to like say, yes, I want to improve my self image, I want to improve my self confidence, and I want to start eating healthy, I want to stop eating things from the bag, for example. How can I go about this? What habit can I start in order to avoid eating junk meals and
Hey,
start?
good. You said the
Yeah,
magic word habit. I love
yeah.
that word. Because to me, it's just two or three things. It's really simple. One, yes, you said it. Read the label. And I even advise you, and those of you with kids, read it aloud. Have your kids read it aloud. Have your husband or wife read it aloud. What's
Mm,
in that stuff that you're eating? Let's talk about it. What's in it?
Mm.
because it's a great way to teach your children about the world. So read the label. 1.
Mm.
2, no sugar. No sugar. Just none. 0. See if you
Mm.
can do it. Um, and give it 2 or 3 weeks, because you're a junkie and you need 2 or 3 weeks to detox from the sugar. You'll probably feel it a bit, but it's a good feeling to know that you're doing something really great for yourself, for your kids, for your family, for your future, all that.
Mm.
So read the label, quit sugar. And I also suggest that you think a lot and try to eat something dark green 2 or 3 times a day.
Mm.
Because this is a habit, this is a thing that most Americans at least are not doing.
Mhm.
And or another herb that's green, and some scissors. And parsley is particularly good because you can put it on everything. It's good
Mm.
on everything. And just snip some off. And you're rewarding yourself every time you snip off those little leaves and put them on your eggs or on your sandwich or in your soup. And are you making soup? Make soup from my
Mm.
book. You need
Yeah.
to be doing.
Yeah.
And another thing, I want you to think about what you're spending on food,
Mm.
because food prices have gone way up. And the
Yeah.
way to spend less on food and eat way better, soup.
Mm. Mm. It's
It's
way better
easy,
soup.
it's delicious,
Mm.
and that's how you get all those veggies into your diet and have them be just amazing and good.
Mm.
So read the label, quit sugar, eat something green, eat soup.
It's soup.
How's that?
I'm taking that with me from this episode. It's soup. I'm going to start learning, start doing that. Eating soup. Healthy soup, lot of
Eat,
grains. Yeah. Mm.
yeah,
It's soup.
yeah.
Before I let you go, Grandma, I would like to know this. What is the most surprising advice you've given anyone ever? Like, what's the most surprising advice you offer?
Not about marriage, right? About food.
Yeah, yeah, please. About food, maybe.
The most surprising advice.
Mm.
Well, people think I'm vegan because of I talk about eating plant-based diet and plant forward. I love a good piece of meat. I enjoy eating, not a lot, some meat, but make it good. Make sure that whatever meat you eat is happy, that has had a good life, has eaten well, has been cared for, and only had one bad day in their life, the last one. I mean, maybe that wasn't too bad.
Mm.
Um, I think, I don't know how surprising this is to a lot of people anymore, but I don't expect people to go vegan all over the world or vegetarian all over the world. I want you to eat more plants, more fruits and vegetables. But when you eat meat, I just want you to be as thoughtful as you are about everything else you do and eat, and read the label. Is it grass fed? That's hugely important,
Mm.
because if you're eating factory farmed food, you're doing damage not only to your own body, but to the earth.
Mm.
So, and we don't have a lot of time there. We need to change that quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's surprising, but I do enjoy a small steak, a flat iron steak once in a while. I enjoy, ooh, chili verde made with a pork roast. If you haven't done that, or if you don't know someone, that's grandma food for you. It's
Mm.
so good. It's slow cooked, long cooked stew sort of thing made with tomatillas and peppers and pork. Usually, it can be made with chicken,
Mm.
but so that's my advice. Eat meat thoughtfully. Eat the best meat you can source, not too often.
Mm. Mm. Wow, that's great advice. Thank you so much. I mean, what I learned from this episode so far is be thoughtful of what you put into your body, because food is your love language. And yeah, you should love yourself. Not maybe even if you don't love yourself, you should respect yourself, respect your body, and be careful of what you put into that body of yours. I mean, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Grandma. I appreciate everything you've taught me, and I'm so
Thank
glad that
you,
we got to speak about
Toby.
this. Yeah.
I hope we can just stay connected and keep doing this periodically. I love seeing you.
Yeah, I love seeing you too. I mean, that's why we're here again. I enjoy just having these conversations with you because every time we speak, you change my mindset a little bit, and now I've learned to be much more thoughtful about the food I eat, and yeah, to yeah,
I'm going
have
to
a
ask
good
you one
balance.
question before I let you go. What is the
Yes.
one thing that you have really changed your mindset about today? I want to hear that. How have you
Uh,
changed your mind?
how have I changed my mind from this episode? One thing that I've learned is to um I know I've reduced sugar, but I've learned to actually try to avoid it totally right now. That's one thing that is in my mindset right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Grandma
Yeah.
wins today. Yes,
Yeah.
I would.
And soup also. Like soup. You said soup. I'm going to try eating soup, more soup right now. Yeah.
Great. You're going to be a happy woman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your day? If you're loving the insightful conversations and captivating stories on Mirror Talk Podcast, here's a friendly nudge to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the empowering messages and thought provoking discussions we bring to your ears. But wait, there's more. We're all about spreading positivity and inspiration, and you can be a part of it too. How? By sharing the love with your friends and family. Share this episode with your loved ones, and let's create a ripple effect of empowerment and growth together. And hey, if you've been enjoying what you hear, why not take a moment to leave us a glowing 5-star review? Your feedback fuels our passion to keep delivering content that resonates with you. So hit that subscribe button, share the love, and leave us a review. Let's keep the conversation going and spread the Mirror Talk magic far and wide. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your support means the world to us.